Welcome to Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms, the podcast that cuts through all the social media noise and gives you real strategies to lose weight without fad diets or complicated plans. I'm Amanda Ford, and I teach busy moms how to use calorie tracking, simple nutrition skills, and strength training to finally lose the first 10, 20, or even 30 pounds and keep it off. If you're tired of starting over, overwhelmed by your schedule, or wondering if lasting weight loss is even possible while raising kids, you're in the right place. Each week, you'll get practical tips, tough love motivation, and repeatable routines that fit into your real life so you can feel strong, confident, and in control. This is Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms podcast. We are jumping right into week 2 of my series called How to Lose Weight. I'm your host, Amanda Ford, weight loss coach for busy moms. In this series, I'm coaching you exactly as if I was your one-to-one weight loss coach. And I technically am, because you listen to this podcast, but be sure to come back each week for your next coaching session. Just like we were working together, just you and me, I'm your coach in your little ears. I hope to make this fun and effective for you. As a quick reminder, these episodes can stand alone, but to get the full value, I encourage you to listen to one episode per week and work through the homework given for the entire 7 days after. If you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the YouTube comments or send me an email to hello@thehealthhobby.com. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Many of my listeners are audio only, but you don't follow over on YouTube. So be sure to connect on both platforms. Even if you don't listen on YouTube, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me grow the podcast and cost you nothing. Finally, don't forget to sign up for my email list as well, because I share all sorts of other weight loss tips to my email subscribers. This is a really great way to connect with me because I don't use social media much anymore. It's distracting and keeps me from doing all the things that I have planned to do. And on that note, go listen to episode number 28, Social Media and Weight Loss Results. Is your daily scroll holding you back? All right. All of that stuff, YouTube, email list, and the episode I just referenced, they all live down in the show notes. So pop down there and get those things done. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast. And be sure to share this podcast with your fave mom friends and besties. Okay, a reminder, I am doing my best to get 1 to 2 episodes out a week. That is a big challenge for me due to production turnaround time. So that means I'm in charge of audio quality and edits instead of my professional editor. Yikes. So my editing and audio may not be so great on some of the episodes. So thank you for your grace and understanding. So jumping right in, it's week 2. If you're coming here for the first time, please save this episode and go back and listen to episode 30 and 31 first. Do the homework, take a week to implement the plan you set out, then come back to this episode. Like last week, there will be 2 episodes for this week. We need to tackle a couple areas, so I'm going to split them up into 2 episodes. In the episode you're listening to right now, we will learn how to do a weekly review, progress assessment, and planning tiny shifts for the upcoming week. Then the following episode, we will jump into building your nutrition skills, which I know you are super eager to get started on. Each week builds on the next. So it's week 2, and you will continue your daily walking per your schedule that you built last week. You might have to shift some things in your schedule. You'll figure out how to do that in this episode or if you need to do that, but it's really important that you continue your walking routine. That is a key pillar to your weight loss success during this program and this time together. So we need to keep you moving mentally in the process, which is really what we're going to be doing today in this particular episode. But also we need to keep you moving physically. Walking taps into both of those areas. Okay, friends, let's begin week 2 by doing a weekly assessment of how your previous week went. So actually, how this works is you would do this weekly assessment at the end of each week. So say let's just do an easy Monday through Sunday week. So I like to do these on Sundays. That's my personal preference. But whatever your end of week day is when I would recommend that you do this. So you're getting ready for the upcoming week. The goal is to review consistency, get honest about areas you can improve or need help with, and also pat yourself on the back and give a couple gold stars or 2 for wins, big or small. Finally, you'll look forward to what's coming next week on your schedule and make a plan. Let's work through this weekly progress assessment in more detail. Good news, I have someone on deck to help me build out my workbook that I've been sharing about. So again, please pray that I can actually focus and get this published this year. The reason I bring this up is because, one, I want you to keep a lookout for it. So be sure you're on my email list. For this particular episode, though, I have a couple of pages in the workbook for weekly assessment and progress reviews. But for now, I want you to pop open your pretty planner that you got at Target back in week 1, or open the Notes app on your phone where you're keeping your weight tracking, etc. So you can jot down some assessment scores and personal reflections. First, let's chat about why doing these reflections and assessments is a key driver to weight loss success. The first thing is it keeps you fully participating in the process, keeps you focused on the game. One of the reasons people fail is that they have a plan and something goes wrong, but they don't pause to figure out why they fell off track or what may be causing the roadblock, so they quit. Taking a few minutes each week to reflect on how it went is going to help you identify, first, what you're doing very well, and second, clearly lay out areas of improvement. This keeps you ultra motivated. It's not meant to call out your failures. It's just information so we can work to customize your weight loss plan, rhythm, and routine so it fits into your life seamlessly. No, every week will not be gold stars all the way across. We're busy moms, remember. In fact, many weeks may seem blah or just so, but it doesn't matter, because the difference here is that you're doing the things, staying consistent as possible, and showing up no matter what, even if you completely mess up for a week or even 2. I shared in the last episode that we got a new puppy and I have a new role at the hospital, which has given me much more work volume than in my past job. My husband and I are not sleeping well, and our schedules are now dependent on who can be home with the puppy. It's like we have a newborn again, sort of, and having a new job at the same time. It's so fun, but we're tired and our schedules look very different than they typically do. I missed many days of workouts and didn't track my food and ate pretty poorly for the first week or 2 of having the new puppy. I didn't feel great about it, but I got to the gym when I could, and everything started to begin to iron out. And most importantly, challenges like this seem big and possibly feel like they can prevent you from being successful, but they're actually temporary. And hitting your mark 2 days out of 7 for the week is better than quitting. You just keep going, no matter what that looks like for you during that time. No matter what comes out of our weekly assessment and progress review that we're going to be doing here and every week going forward, please take the mindset that it's just information for us to make decisions. I'm going to have you jot down some star ratings and reflections as we go on. In the workbook, I actually have pages for this. I'm so excited to get these particular pages out because you're going to go back to these pages each week. But for now, I want you to open your planner or the Notes app on your phone, and I want you to title this week Progress Assessment. So let's jump in. Okay, like I said, this is a star rating system for this first portion. We're going to go through a few specific areas. We have 2 categories. We have the lifestyle section and the consistency section. The star ratings are 1 to 5 stars, with 1 star being poor and 5 stars being the absolute best. The high score for each category is 20. So for the lifestyle ratings this week, reflect back and rate your lifestyle with a 1 to 5 stars in your notebook in the following areas. So the first is your energy level, So how were you feeling this last week? Were you energetic, slow, just so? So rate that a 1 to 5 star. Your mood? What was your mood? Were you excited, positive, or stressed? Go ahead and rate that a 1 to 5 star. Next is your sleep. So reflecting back on your past week, how would you rate your sleep? Did you wake up feeling rested or lethargic maybe, or was it just business as usual? Again, rate that a 1 to 5 star. And finally, you want to rate your motivation. I love this one. Were you motivated, eager, and energized to participate in your weight loss journey or other areas in your life? Or were you feeling like this was a really big struggle or perhaps somewhere in between? So again, rate that from a 1 to a 5 star. So after you've rated each area between 1 and 5 stars, go ahead and add up your stars for that category. Did you hit the high score? What was your score? Note that total down for your lifestyle section. All right, so you've rated your first section, the lifestyle section, each area 1 to 5 stars. I want you to take a moment and look back at your scores and reflect. Did you score mid-range or low star in any particular area? I want you to circle them. There's the puppy. And then I want you to think about what are some things you can do to improve your score in those particular areas during the upcoming week. So for example, maybe your energy was really low and you scored low in energy. Let's think about this. Were you drinking enough water? Were you living on coffee and energy drinks all week and not really fueling yourself with real foods? Maybe your sleep was impacted. It could be a million things, and definitely different depending on which category or categories we're talking about here. But when it comes to coming up with solution, get creative and think about can your husband do the wind down routine with the kids a couple nights this week so you can get to bed earlier? It could really be anything that makes sense to you. But my biggest tip here is to make it very small. It's a very small tweak, a very small solution. You don't want it to be this big overhaul where that in itself is going to be overwhelming, because then this whole thing is going to be overwhelming. So whatever your solution is, to just inch your score up in that area just a little bit, make it a small change or shift for your routine the upcoming week. So let's do another one. Let's say sleep, for example. Your sleep wasn't great. You have a 2-star rating in sleep. You were super slow and lethargic every morning, not feeling like you slept at all. So you gave yourself a 2-star rating. Instead of saying, gosh, I had the worst sleep, this was terrible, I'm never going to be able to do this, I have to get to bed no matter what at 8:30 every single night, period, end of story. That's a great plan, but it's pretty strict and hardlined. So instead of doing something so intense, and I would say that's a big change, right? If you're not usually going to bed at 8:30, that really could be hard to stick to. So let's think of something smaller. So instead, can you turn the lights down around 8:30? Can you do a wind down routine yourself, like read a physical book instead of scrolling social media once you get, around 8 o'clock, or at 8:15 to kind of start winding down? Or can you have some hot tea and turn the TV off at 8 o'clock and just start to close the house down little by little to kind of get into a more relaxed sleep mode to help you get into a better state of sleep when you do get to bed. These are little tweaks. They're super simple to do. They're less hardlined and harsh, which makes the process of shifting your lifestyle much easier. This also reduces the stress around the process of trying to change if you can't or don't get to bed by 8:30, but you have a little routine set to help your body relax for bed instead. If you have more than one area you would like to improve on, say you scored low in multiple areas, I want you to choose just one area to work on each. If you hit the mark all week and you feel confident in your routine, keep doing whatever it is that you were doing. Rinse and repeat, my friend. Keep it up. All right, next we're going to repeat this process, but in a different category. We're going to be doing a rating system of our consistency during the last week. We're going to reflect back and rate your consistency with a 1 to 5 star in your notebook in the following areas. Again, we'll repeat the process like we did above, and 2 of these areas, just as a little note, if you're listening this during your week 2, you haven't worked on these areas yet, so you can leave them at 0. But moving forward, since I do recommend you save this episode to come back, you will have a star rating. So your consistency ratings, I want you to look back and think about how you were consistent in the following areas. And again, you're rating this from a 1 to 5. 1, you were not, you were like terrible. 5, you were really, really good and on the money. So the first area is your calorie budget. So once we lock in your calorie budget, you'll be able to answer this question. So if you're at week 2, you don't have a calorie budget yet, you can skip this question. Moving forward, if you're listening to this after week 2, go ahead and score yourself from a 1 to 5. How consistent were you? So you can look back in your nutrition tracker. You'll know how tight you were. But if you need a little reminder, pop open your calorie tracking app and just look through your diary and see how you did throughout the week to get an idea of how to score yourself. Your daily walks. This one you should be able to answer. Did you walk every single day for 1 mile? Hydration. This one, even during week 2, we didn't talk about it last week, but you can go ahead and give yourself a rating here and go ahead and do like a preliminary rating for last week. So how do you think you were hydrated this last week? And then moving forward, we'll set a hydration goal. Actually, starting this week, we'll talk about that and give yourself a star rating, 1 to 5. Did you hit that goal? Finally, strength training. Again, once we lock in your workouts, you'll be able to answer this one moving forward after week 3 or 4. We'll get there. But during these first few weeks, as we set this system up and do the process together, you can leave it as 0. But if we are to that point, go ahead and rate your strength training consistency. Did you hit your workouts and show up for your workouts? Whatever that schedule is for you, did you hit that consistently this past week? So 1 to 5. Rate each area, again, with a 1 to 5 star. Add up your stars for the week in that particular category. Did you get a high score here? So you probably, if it's week 2, you're not going to get a high score in this particular section yet because we haven't done all of the categories yet. We haven't done all the lessons for you to be able to implement all those things. But next, again, take a moment and look back at your scores. Did you score mid-range or low in any of the areas? Jot down a couple ways you can improve your score in those areas during the next week. The final step here is for you to add up both your scores and make the note of your grand total. So what was your score for your lifestyle category? What was your score for your consistency category? So the high score is 40 total. So what was your score out of 40? And make a goal to beat whatever your score is next week, even if it's just by 1 point. And a reminder, this only works if you're honest with yourself during this process. So don't fib on your ratings or on your reflection questions that we're going to do here next. Be honest, tap into your strengths, but also your weaknesses. It's not meant to call out in a negative way. It's meant to offer you information and motivation for small changes to get you weight loss results now. The final step in the weekly progress assessment is to work through a few reflection questions. These are essentially journal prompts that you can answer in your planner or in your notes section on your phone. Do not skip this. This provides you with prompts to think deeper about how you did well and where you can improve. So I'm going to read off some journal prompts here for you to think about, and go ahead and you can pause every time I say the question and go ahead and work through that question, write it out, or just kind of take a moment and think about it. And this is going to help you improve for next week. Okay, so our first question is, what part of last week felt easy for you and why? What part felt hard and why? How can I get flexible and creative to make it a tiny bit easier if I struggled last week? So that question is more of an overall general question. If you were looking at the entire process, it's a really like a big picture, bird's eye view. These next couple questions are about our nutrition. What foods that you ate this week made you feel really good? Which foods made you feel not so great? And if you missed any days staying on track with your calorie budget, what circumstances caused you to veer off track? How can you get flexible and creative to make it a tiny bit easier? So, if you're eating foods that are making you feel energized, they're not making you feel sluggish, bloated, they make you feel good, they're keeping you on track with your calorie budget, they're making you feel full, you like the way they taste, keep eating those foods. If you're eating things that even if you, I'm doing air quotes, like them, they're just not making you feel great. Those are the foods you want to cut back on a little bit. I'm not really big on like cutting things out completely, but I want you to feel good while you're going through this process. And a lot of times we don't feel good because we're eating foods that are keeping us kind of like inflamed and bloated and sluggish and upset stomach and heartburn and things like that. Those types of foods we want to kind of start to wean out or have very limited amounts because we want to eat things that are keeping us motivated and fresh and energetic. These next prompts are about our schedule, and this one's really important because if we lock in our schedule, we can stay on track with our consistency, which means we have results rolling in. Okay, so look back at last week's calendar. How did your schedule work out when it came to getting your walks in and or your strength training sessions? Next week, are there any days you may need to shift your plan to help ensure you are consistent in these areas? Note those changes in your calendar for the upcoming week. If you struggled last week, how can you get creative and flexible with your time to help you succeed? So I want you to be doing not only these assessments like we're going through right now in this episode, but also just do a week ahead review, like what's upcoming in your week. So do you have meetings? Do your kids have extra sports practices, or are you traveling for a game for them? Or do you have a day off work? Do you have a party to go to? Is there anything that's out of the ordinary or something that would really require you to make different plans for you if you are needing to move your workout or your walks, or maybe even plan on different food for the week? Because I don't know, there could be a lot of different reasons, but having a look ahead and see what's coming. Plug into your calendar, like, I have to make my lunch this day because, we're getting catering and I don't want to eat, the cheeseburgers or whatever. You can have cheeseburgers, that's fine. I'm just making something up. At the office, like you're like, they always got In-N-Out burger and I don't want cheeseburgers. I want a salad and a turkey sandwich. And, if you can hear my husband banging on his car in the garage, I'm sorry. I'm just making it up, but just look ahead. Or maybe you are traveling for a kid's game and you're like, that means we're definitely eating fast food. How can you plan for that? Can you pack a lunch? Can you pack a dinner? Can you decide on where you guys are going to eat ahead of time and make a plan on what you're going to order? There's all kinds of ways you can get creative and flexible, but just taking the time to look ahead. Can you get your workouts in as usual because your schedule is, XYZ? Yes, that works. Am I going to be able to eat as planned because I have this going on in this coming 7 days? No. Well, okay. Well, what can you do? So those types of things, I want you to just have a look at the next 7 days and think about those things and how you can get creative and flexible to ensure that you're successful with your workouts and your meal planning as you go along in this process. And finally, we're going to end on a really positive note. What area did you really excel at last week? And it can be the biggest thing. You're like, I did walk every single day for 1 mile and I walked really fast and I felt really energized. It was hard in the first couple days, but then the next few days it was just the best. Or it can be something really small, is like on Monday, I finally ate breakfast for the first time in like 4 months. So I know that a lot of working moms skip breakfast. I am a chronic breakfast skipper, so I understand, but it feels really good to get a nice full protein packed breakfast because you can really sustain your energy throughout the day so you don't get lethargic and start snacking and blowing your calorie budget. It's really, really helpful, and it actually boosts your mood too and your productivity, at work, or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, just throughout the day where you're working at the house or doing whatever. It's a little sidebar there, but what did you do really well last week? Maybe you hit your water goal. Maybe you got to bed on time and you felt like you slept really well. Maybe what you did really well last week was like you listened to this episode and finally made a plan. And you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm starting the plan. Like whatever you're proud of yourself in this particular process, I want you to write it down. It can be anything that makes you feel good, that, that's keeping you on track and motivated. And I'd love to hear what that is. So send me an email. Let me know, what was that thing you did really good last week that's getting you motivated for your week 2. And leave it in the YouTube comments if you want. I'd love to see them there. And I know other people would be motivated by that too. In fact, please leave your wins in the YouTube comments. That would be so, so fun. So this step in your journey is really, really powerful. Taking a moment for yourself and reflecting on this is going to open up your eyes to areas you may not have been aware of before. And it will ping new ideas for moving forward and making positive changes in your weight loss success. I'm laying out the path for you to follow in these episodes, but be sure to save this particular episode and use it at the end of each week, because this is really you coaching yourself here. These are the same questions and discussions that you and I would have if you and I were working together, if you were my private client. This is one of the ways working with me is different. We go deep. Losing weight is truly a lifestyle shift, and it takes a little courage and guts to get it done. As you work through these each week, make a goal of improving just one tiny area. Don't make a huge deal out of it. It takes a few weeks to get your wheels greased. It's okay. Remember, we're taking this nice and slow. We're the tortoise, not the hare in this race. This episode, you should bookmark, save it on your YouTube profile so you can access it super quickly. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're listening on my podcast platform, be sure you are following the podcast. And please be sure to save this episode for quick access in your phone and leave me a 5-star review. That would be really helpful too. Thanks in advance. If you need more support or have questions, leave your questions in the YouTube comments or send me an email to hello@thehealthhobby.com. Okay, buckle up. In our next episode, we're getting our feet wet with nutrition. I'm here for you all. I believe in you. I'm so proud of you for your fully participating in this process. I'll catch you on the next episode. Hey there, me again. Quick disclaimer, I share tips, insights, and ideas to help you on your weight loss and fitness journey, but I'm not your doctor or your personal health guru. Before diving into any nutrition or fitness plans I talk about, make sure to check in with your healthcare provider. They know your body best. Think of this podcast as your cheerleader and a place for healthy living idea inspiration, not your prescription pad. Stay safe, stay smart, and let's crush those goals together. Until next time.